And I am recording. Are you recording?
Yeah, I'm recording.
You're recording.
And
Great.
I've been recording for a bit, yeah.
Oh, you've been recording.
Yeah, so you might want to cut, like, you're going to have to cut it from
I
earlier.
might.
Like 2
I
minutes.
might.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might. So, what's up, man? This is the first test. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. It sounds good. It looks good. I'm not clipping according to the feed. So, yeah.
Yeah, because of the way like the pickup works with the
Mhm.
headphones, like I should be able to tell if I'm clipping just by hearing my voice, but it sounds really clear. It sounds really crisp. I'm hoping that at least on my end there won't be a lot that I'm gonna have to clean up. I know it's a little different on your end, but that's okay. I think the issue that we had with yours was just the hum, and hum is hard to get rid of. It's hard to like avoid, but I think it's somewhat easy to get rid of. And I know there are some tricks with Adobe that can get rid of that.
Got a lot of tricks up your sleeve.
Tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been a good title.
Yeah.
For the podcast. Tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah. So what have you been up to today?
Yeah, I've been up to pretty much nothing today. Yeah, I mean, got up, ate, showered, and here I am. It's just, I don't know, like this weekend I've just been trying to like just catch up on sleep. I told you before off camera, I guess, if you could say, that I've been getting up pretty early these days, but I think that has resulted in like a sleep deficit.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing just like little errors that I have done unwittingly and like unknowingly that I wouldn't have done if maybe I was sleeping better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It sounds like that 7:30 wake up time's taking a bit of a hit this weekend, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, so I'm like I said, like I'm trying to like catch up, where like 4 or 5 days in a row I've been getting up, even though I'm still tired, but I'm like shaking off the tiredness. But on Friday and Saturday you can kind of sleep in, and it's feeling real good to sleep in. I haven't been able to do that for a while. But again, I'm noticing just like I'm making like Facebook events and stuff, and there's like errors on the schedule. There's errors, and like I forgot to put the graphic up, and I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe I'm making these errors. I never used to do that. I don't know if it's because overall I'm sleep deprived, or if I don't know what it is. You ever feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, shit picks up with you for sure. I remember like last semester when I was like working and had a bunch of other responsibilities with school and whatnot. It was just, it takes a toll, you can't get like, 4 or 5 hours of sleep 3 nights in a row and not expect it to take a toll, because that's just how, it's just like your phone, you got to recharge it. And if it's not charged up, then you're screwed. You're not going to operate at 100%. Have you been getting like 8 hours or how
So I've been getting anywhere between like 6 and 8 hours. So it hasn't been that bad, but I sort of came to the conclusion like near the end of my college career that like I can't do 8 hours of sleep. Like I need like 9 or 10 pretty much every night. So near the end, near the pre-COVID semester, like I was pretty much just going to bed like at 11 or 10, you know what I'm saying, and getting up like at 8 or 9, feeling real good, just because I knew that like, I had 11 a.m.s to catch, and I got into some pretty bad habits the years before about just getting up right at the very edge of being able to go and make it to class on time, at an 11 a.m., which you think, 11 a.m.s are like what everyone wants. But my sleep schedule had been taking such a hit, and it was sliding forward, and it was getting real bad to even make it on time to 11 a.m. So, I was like, look, I'm clearly like one of those people that like, I need to just sleep more. I don't know what it is. And instead of fighting it, instead of trying to like shame yourself into getting up early and sleeping for 5 or 6 hours or whatever, or even 8 hours, instead of being that person, why don't you just roll with the punches and like, hey, I can't do that. I know who I am. I know what I need. So why fight it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I mean, I came to a similar conclusion, just that, you hang out with people and they're like, oh yeah, it is such like a competitive thing. I feel like in college, like everything's a competition, and that's what's been kind of nice You were talking about getting up right before class and like rushing to class and all that. And it was weird because I was almost feeling fond of those times, of just rushing to class, like something so dumb and inane as just like, throwing on my clothes and trying to make sure I get to class on time. I'm not the last one in before the bell or whatever.
Yeah.
And now that's like not a thing, obviously, during coronavirus. But one thing that has been, good is I feel like it's like less of a rat race. Like I remember the previous semester, not spring, but the previous fall, it felt like everything was a competition. Like, oh, are you putting in the most hours to your work? Are you putting in the most hours to your extracurriculars? Everything has to be a competition. And when you see everyone every single day and they're all like, oh, I got like 2 hours of sleep last night, but I've got to grind and all this. It's like such a grind culture in college. And I think it's
rise and grind.
literally. And I think it's super important to realize that, hey, what is best for me is not what's best for everyone else. They say 8 hours of sleep, and that's just a recommendation. Like that's not for everyone. And I think that's super important because it's not one size fits all, and
Right.
people are going to try and flex on you with all their stuff they're doing. And then I think, once you fit something once you're trying to like mimic their schedule and like mimic their, way of success or whatever, then you're going to like end up failing. But once you, find out what's good for me, what's right for me, that's when you get started, and that's when you can really, shine. And then, it's all from there.
Yeah, I mean, in college, it's so easy to fall into that trap, right? Where you're comparing yourself to other people, and there's like a romanticization of like that rise and grind. Like I'm barely sleeping, I'm drinking like iced coffee till 5, and first meal of the day at 6 p.m. And it's just like I see that all the time. Like certainly in our circles of friends, right?
Yeah.
But I see it on Twitter. I see it everywhere, and I'm just like, guys, you're literally killing yourselves. And I just don't think you are inevitably making it harder for people to like get out of that cycle when you're making it like a fun little meme. And I get it, some people like they laugh to cope and everything, and I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying, like, if you are currently caught in that trap right now, listener, you don't need to be in there. Like I said, I was kind of breaking out of that near the end of the pre-COVID semester, but then things changed so quickly that it became hard again to reset, because it was easy to be a little bit complacent because you no longer needed to get up so early relative to your class time to be ready for class, because you could just roll out of bed 10 minutes before and maybe throw on a baseball cap or something to hide your bed hair and then get to class, right?
Remember those days.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was wearing caps every day. But then, I'm like, oh, I'm losing my hair, so maybe I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. I think you touched on a really interesting thing of like the health aspect, because like we were saying, it's not one size fit all. Like everyone has their own schedule and different things work for different people. But to a certain degree, like you're taking, like if you're not getting that 8 hours, if you're not getting at least 7 or whatever the recommended amount is, like you are literally taking years off of your life. And for what?
Yeah.
Like this, it's not just sleep, it's stress, it's these different unhealthy habits in general. And like you can't, like write checks that your body is unable to cash without.
Ooh.
Yeah, and just
please tell me you came up with that yourself.
Yeah. That's I love the metaphor. And I'm about to go one more on that. You can't. You can't write checks that your body's unable to cash without the tax man coming later in life. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Poetic right there.
yeah. But keep serving them up, Eli. But I think you're right. I think as a society, like we place a lot of importance on like the rise and grind, like get up super early, which some people like that really appeals to them and it works for them, and whatever. And to be fair as well, like we can't, as much as I would love to normalize like the non-conventional sleep schedule, so long as you're still getting your 8 or 9 hours, right? Like society, like the construct right now is that like things are starting to happen, like things start to happen at around 8 a.m. You need to be up for that. So, okay, right? So if that's going to be the case, right, then we need to just normalize like you got to get to sleep at like the right time, in my family, it was kind of a thing near like the middle of April where we were like, okay, we need to like revitalize like our life, our schedule in the age of COVID, right? So we want to get up, my father, so his big thing is always, and to his credit, that is like a good thing, right? But like, get up early and let's get stuff done. And I get really frustrated when the goalpost is get up early without, and the methodology is never, hey, can we go to sleep earlier? Like, because I need that, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm with it on the 7:30 wake up time, but I need to be in bed by like 9. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm not like you. I'm not like my sister. I need a lot more sleep than they do because when other people are tired when they wake up, I think they can shake it off a little better than I can. I don't know what it is about my body, but everyone's different. Like you said, it's not one size fits all.
Yeah, and when you're in a community, whether it is your friend group at school, like your classes at school, or now that you're back home with your family, because I that was the thing with me was that if you're in a house and someone wakes up, then you're probably going to hear them and you're probably going to wake up. So instead of being on the community sleeping schedule from your friends or what's socially appropriate, now that we're in a different community, a community of just our family, we're on that schedule now. And that's definitely something that we're going to have to adapt to, and that's just kind of weird to think about. It's like now your new community is being your parents and whatnot. And
Yeah,
like you said, it's a communal decision of, what's our schedule going to be. Like, you've got to kind of talk that out.
and to be clear, like I'm quite happy to adapt to that. I think that is a good thing, especially in like if you're going to be like stuck at home for as long as we've been, because of quarantine. That is a good thing to adapt to, but you need to be like understanding and respectful of like other people's needs as well. And honestly, like this past week, I have been getting up super early, and there is like a nice thing about it. Because now I've been getting up before everyone else in my family, so I'm up at 7:30. I roll into the bathroom, use the bathroom, and then go make coffee. Right, because I'm drinking coffee like crazy. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I'm drinking like 6 or 7 mugs of coffee like a day. Like it's getting bad.
Wow.
Nah, it's more like 3 or 4, but sometimes it's 6 or 7. But it's getting bad, but it's good, in a way. But
it's bad, but it's good.
but there is something like, it is true, the feeling that you're up getting stuff done before everyone else is, like there is like a piece to that I really 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 like. And as soon as other people are getting up, and it's like ruined, and you're like, oh okay, well, oh well. I had the house to myself for a while, but now I don't. So that is like a real thing. I used to like just shrug that off and like, oh, who could possibly value that over a couple extra hours of sleep? But now that I've experienced it, I'm like, wow, that actually is like really really valuable. That like serenity of being like the only one up in the house. Like that's what like attracts a lot of people to being up like at 4 or 5 in the morning, and going out for a drive. Like the city's asleep. There is a serenity
Yeah.
to it. And like I said,
Yeah.
like I used to think, oh, you're crazy if you value that over sleep. But now, but if you're doing that and you're getting the sleep you need because you're getting up, because you're going to bed earlier and you're getting up early, like it's like the best of both worlds,
Yeah. And I think it's not just important when you get up or how much sleep you're getting, but also how you get up and how you go to sleep. Because like I think it's different for different people what is important. But for me, when I've been trying to work on how I'm going to sleep, like because I used to just literally, I think we've talked about this, literally just like I had no schedule, no like ritual at the end of the day. And I think that spending more time with myself, I've realized that it is very important to have those like transitions. And I've started doing every night before I go to sleep, or a lot of nights when I can, doing like 10 minutes of like stretching or yoga or something like that to try and just make that transition a little bit smoother, to like wind down. Because I think that that's really, especially at, I think I started with waking up. Like I started, every time I wake up, I have to drink water, take my vitamins, open
Yeah.
my windows, just so I can transition to, and I started putting, my phone not by my bed, but like on my bookcase. So it's like I have to get up out of bed to get it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good. that's a good thing if you're like struggling to get up.
Yeah,
But that is like a thing that only works for at least for me, it only works for so long.
yeah.
So I sleep on the top of a bunk, which Eli can see right behind me. Um, so you might think, oh, just keep the phone away, and you'll have to like climb down and then turn it off, and that'll help you get up. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes like I will still just climb back up to my bed and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's a real big problem, but that is like that is a positive step in the right direction.
Yeah. But I found, going to, like, I thought that, getting up, being productive, beginning of the day, is the most important thing. But I feel like I've kind of found that the opposite of like going to sleep is the more important transition, because it's like, that's when you're like, if you go to sleep bad, like that's like 8 hours. I think when you wake up, you can like slowly get back on track. But when you're going to sleep, like that is setting the tone for your 8-hour sleep schedule. And I think that if you go to bed, in the wrong way, you're not getting the most out of your sleep. And I think it's really important to just like wind down, like chill out a bit. I know some people like there's the whole debate of like, do I shower in the morning or do I shower at night? And like different people have their own things. Which are you a morning shower or a night shower?
So I used to be a night shower guy. From pretty much youth till high school, to the end of high school, really till college then, I was a night shower because I had to get up at 6:30 to go to school, right? 6:30, and for those 30 minutes I needed to have like eaten, changed, and be ready to be out the door by 7. So adding a shower to that would have bumped that back to 6 o'clock at, or 6:15 if I'm really fast in the shower. And you would be surprised at like the sheer difference between 6:15 and 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30 feels like, oh my God, like, 30 hours of beauty rest, but 6:15 feels like I slept for 25 minutes. It feels really bad. So I was a night shower guy, but obviously, like when I got to college, I shifted immediately into a morning shower person because this may be TMI, and for our younger listeners, this is something that'll happen to you. But when you grow up and you go through puberty, you start noticing the smells of your body, especially in certain areas of your body that are a little sensitive. So. You start to realize like those days in your youth when like maybe you would have skipped a shower and any other day or whatever, like you can't do that anymore. And at least I was that kid. Maybe I was just always gross, but I can't do that anymore. So the morning sets the tone now. I have to shower in the morning now to be ready for the rest of the day. What about you?
Interesting. Yeah. So it's funny that I would even ask that because during the like before COVID, I was kind of like in a strict shower of like every single morning I'm going to shower. And since like I've been staying at home, and like it's weird because when you're like living and you are going out and you are working and you are going to class, like you're at home, your time at home is at the beginning and end of the day, and then for the rest of the day you are not at that location, and you don't have a choice of like when to shower. So it's good. You got to get like this, like you got to get out. I'm ready for the day. But anyway, since like I'm just at home all the time and I can take a shower, whatever time, whenever, it's just been kind of more of like an ad hoc thing of like, I guess I need a shower, and it's like, and that might be at like morning or night. Like, it's never been during the middle of the day. Like it's never at like.
Yeah, that's like a really chaotic time to shower, I think. Like if you're showering, and that's ironic, right? Because I just got out of the shower like an hour ago before we started this test. No, definitely not in the middle of the day, although sometimes it has creeped till like 2 or 3 when I hop in the shower. But just because my morning was so hectic that I was on nonstop Zooms or whatever, and I could not shower until then. But a big thing why I'm getting up early these days is because I really hate having to like shower like after I've done stuff for the day. Like I've already started doing some campaign stuff or CDA stuff or whatever. I hate thinking, oh, I still have to shower. Like I really hate that. So that's why I'm getting up at 7:30. I'm showering, and I'm out and I'm ready to rock and roll like 8:15. That way I don't have to look forward to that, or hate to look forward to it, or have it back in my mind. Oh crap, I still need to shower. I'm already changed.
Yeah.
I'm wearing like a t-shirt and like black pants. Like I've been wearing pants every day in quarantine. I know.
Impressive.
I'm not ordinarily a shorts guy. So early on in quarantine, I was just wearing like basketball shorts and stuff, just like the bare minimum like comfort stuff.
Mhm.
But I realized that was affecting my productivity.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing like black and gray pants, and I'm wearing like my sneakers too.
Mhm.
Like my really expensive stuff.
Yeah.
So like just for one thing, just so they could still be worn, right?
Yeah.
And another
Gotta keep
thing,
it
just
fresh.
right, gotta flex on my dad, but but just because it's really important to get in that mindset. Like I'm still like at school, or I'm still at like a job or whatever. I'm still doing stuff, and this is how I would dress if I was still going out and doing stuff. So I want to dress like that just to keep my head in the right mindset. Because at least for me, like being in like oversized t-shirts and basketball shorts, that tends to, become really toxic in my head, and make it harder for me to do the things that I need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is like, I think that you forget, and at least I definitely forgot. At the beginning of quarantine, I think that I kind of went through a similar thing of like, I was just even mentally thinking like, what are the things that I did for me, and what are the things that I did for other people? Like getting like dressed up nice, like wearing like a nice shirt or a nice whatever, just making like shaving, things like that. Like, what did I do for me? What did I do because I liked the way that I looked? And what did I do like for outward things? And I think that originally I thought that I came to a place where I was thinking, I do things for, I do things like so much is performative, like so much is like getting dressed up nice, looking good for other people, shaving for other people, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I think I've come to the conclusion now that it's like, it is outward. Like because I was thinking, everything I do that's outward, I'm doing for other people, for other people's, convenience or whatever. But I think that, you get into that a little bit and you start to see how it's affecting you. You start to see how it's like slowing you down or taking whatever effect it may on you. And I think you do start to realize that, hey, this is not for them. This is for me. I like the way that I look. It does have an effect on me, the way that I look. And yeah, I mean, it is just a real thing. It's not just a thing in your head of like, these societal norms, I think, which is, I knew that, like you hear that all the time, like, look professional, be professional, act professional, whatever. But feeling it and seeing it in yourself is a whole nother ball game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we could get into, the societal undertones of professionalism, which a lot of people have touched on before. But I think that's a really interesting way to put it. Like the things that you do for you, the things that you do for other people. I think before quarantine, I might have thought that a substantial part of like the way I dress and the way like I think about the way I present myself is like largely for other people, right? And now, without that aspect of it, over the past 4 months or so, it has really become, wait, I still want to do these things for me because like they're beneficial for my headspace, right?
Yeah.
So like it's getting dressed, it's wearing the shoes, it's grooming. I look at myself like I'm currently like unshaven somewhat, and I look at myself and I'm like, damn, you need to shave. Like, and it isn't just because you look ridiculous to other people, but I don't like the way it looks either. To be fair, I haven't shaved yet. We can talk about shaving at another point because I have a lot of thoughts on shaving. But and then there's a thing that like I have always been annoyed at my whole life, and it's my fingernails. As men, right? And this is I'm speaking generally, right? As men, we are expected to have short fingernails, right? And long fingernails are typically considered like feminine or whatever, and we can unpack those problems later, right? This is not the point, okay?
Yeah.
But me personally, I just prefer the look of shorter fingernails. Like, that's just a personal thing. But I prefer the functionality of longer fingernails.
Mm.
And it's hard to get, like, a medium between that. And I'm noticing that, like, I'm letting my fingernails grow a little more. Like, I'm just letting it slide a little more often in quarantine because I'm not worried about other people looking at my fingernails. But even then, like, I find myself, like, just reminding myself, hey, you need to trim those fingernails because I'm finding that I don't like the way they look either, even if they're more useful to me, just because I prefer the way they feel, like against my fingertips.
Mm.
I don't like the way short ones feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a thing I've always had a problem with as a kid.
I know. I actually get that too. I do. I think it helps just like claw out through, not claw. Like that sounds like we're not talking like 1-inch nails or 9-inch nails or whatever. We're talking, hey, that's a
9-inch
reference.
nails.
But it's like even like opening cans, like opening, like getting, taking apart Legos. That's a prime example of where you want something just get into there a little bit. And I agree with the how it feels aspect, because I know freshly trimmed nails, when it's like you can't even, when you're touching your fingertips and you can't even feel the nail there, like that to me that's like kind of a gross feeling of like
it is a gross feeling, which is why I hate trimming my nail. That's why when I trim my nails, I always kind of give them a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Where like even for like a guy, it would be considered like stereotypically like unmanly, quote unquote. But I just prefer the comfort, and they still look short enough to be presentable, like societally. So that's the thing with the fingernails, but like the shaving is like a weird thing as well, where like I can't grow a beard, and I've tried so many times, dude. Like it is like a really frustrating thing that I can't like have the beard like wrap around properly. I'm just trying to charge my laptop here.
Yeah.
The shaving thing is like I'm just like resigning my fate that I'm gonna be have to be clean shaven like for the rest of my life, pretty much.
My dad and my grandfather and like a lot of members of my family can like go for it. But yeah, I'm in this exact same boat. It's just like I can't go for it. I mean, I do go like I think everyone kind of, especially during this time, which is like, maybe we should be a little bit softer on ourselves, but everyone just kind of lets it go a bit. Don't like things like shaving, things like cutting your nails, both those things. It is such a balance between the aesthetic, preferences of society and yourselves versus, the utility of, one, not having to think about it, not having to do it. And then the utility of, when it comes to the nails, of like, picking things up. There's not a lot of utility to not shaving in my experience, especially living in Texas. There's no cold winter that we're trying to hide our faces from.
There's no frostbite I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. We're not in the frontier down here. Different kind of frontier, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it's but it is a utility versus the aesthetic nature of it. And that's just always a choice, I think.
So this 3-minute test has turned into a 28-minute test. So let's so I think let's call it. I think this is really good. I think we have a good flow. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording now.
Yeah, me too.